bother you anymore? We need to remember who we are, especially in these last days. Jesus said, look at verse 34. For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey who left his house, and he gave authority to his servants. We're his servants. We always remember who we are. We're not our own. We're his servants. Now, a lot of times in the Bible, we miss a lot of the cultural things that's written, but we miss it. In the Hebrew culture, I don't know if I can do this. When a servant would stand, they'd stand over at the side and they'd be watching their master, just watching him. As he started to clap his hands for them, they were moving toward him. We're his servants. Whatever don't let him be beating his hands together. Hey, hey, hey. Now, we've got to be ready. Be his servant. You're a servant. His servant does whatever he asks you to do. I remember once when I was working as an associate pastor, there was a full gospel church. I didn't think anybody would want to hire me. Number one, I'm not married. That's a prerequisite of being in the ministry. I wasn't married. Nobody, Well, this one full gospel church said, hey, we want you. I see you, Mark. Anyway, I was working for them. And he said, now, we want you to come, wear a coat and tie, because you got to do visitation, you've got to do this. And I found out the pastor wanted me to do a lot of stuff that he didn't want to do. So I was doing that. And here I am dressed up. It's like 10:30 in the morning. I knew I had to go to the hospital at lunch because one was having surgery. And he says, we need you to go out back and start building a shed. It's like 100 degrees in the summer. And I said, well, I didn't come dressed to do that. I'd be happy to do it, but I didn't come dressed. Oh, no, we need you to do that now. Well, I got a little tude going. I said, doggone. I got to go to the hospital because you don't want to go. And I was out there, and I was sawing the wood, took my coat off. Man, I am drenched. It's just coated. I said, great. I'm going to have to go to the hospital looking like a mule. And so I was sawing I said, Lord, I said, you didn't call me to be a carpenter. By the time the Lord spoke to me, why, I was. And I stopped a minute. God checked my spirit. When you're a servant, you do whatever he asks you to do. Without the lip. And I'm not saying some people don't take advantage of you. They do. But they're in God's hands. You be a servant. Watch your little tude. Don't get a little attitude going. Be a servant. Don't ever forget who you are. Be a servant. God will take care of you. And it didn't matter much when I went to the hospital in his sweat-drenched shirt. What does it matter? I remember going to India. People didn't even have shirts. I remember going, and I was worried about my pants being so wrinkled up. I mean, wadded up, wrinkled. It looked like aluminum foil that you've ever just wadded. I mean, 100,000 wrinkles all up. I was worried to death about my pants being so wrinkled. We got on the bus, we were going, I saw a man didn't even have pants. And all of a sudden, my wrinkles didn't matter anymore. Just be his servant. Don't forget who you are. But there's some things about being a servant that he's saying here. He said, the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey who left his house. That's an important thing. Your house is an important thing. Everything that you are, your history, your pictures of your history, your pots, your pans, your clothes, everything, your pillows, everything is in your house. Here Jesus is saying, trying to drive home the importance of you being his servant. It's like the Son of Man, I took a far journey and I left my house in your charge. Oh, you're in charge of Jesus' house. It ain't Barack Obama's house. It ain't Arnold Schwarzenegger's house. It ain't the pastor's house. It's Jesus' house. He is wanting you to have that attitude of a servant because you're watching over his house. But look what he says. Who gave authority to you. Now we know in Matthew 28, Jesus said, all power is given unto me. Now I'm giving it unto you. We're his servants. But he's given us all authority. All power is given to us. In Acts 1, they were talking about, are you, Jesus, at this time going to restore the kingdom to Israel? He said, it's not for you to know the times or the seasons. He said, but you're going to receive power after the Holy Spirit comes upon you. Now, as his servants, we're going to have power. Now, when you walk into somebody's house, you can't tell them what to do. You don't have any authority. You don't have any power to tell them how to do and what to do. But if somebody has placed you in charge, you can do that because you have the authority. That's what Jesus is doing. He has trusted you. He loves you so much. We've forgotten who we are. We're in charge of Jesus' house. He's given us the authority. Then he says, and to every man his work. He's given each one of us something to do. He doesn't have any lazy servants, not his servants. They may say they're servants of God, but God's servants are doing something because they know he's coming back. And he's not going to find his servants sitting around. But it goes a little further. And he commanded the porter to watch. Now the porter is the guy who watches the gate or the door before you come in. This was the story I was going to tell you in Guatemala. In Guatemala, they have fences around their house. Barbed wire, broken glass, everything. You've seen it. And they have this little man. Whenever you come up in the car, you beat the horn. And before you got to turn in, there was this little man running out. He'd run, open the gate. So you could bring the car right in, and then the little man would just pull it right back and lock it up. That's all he did. But that was his job. Now, there were some times, be beeping on the horn, we're coming up. Beat the horn again. Gate didn't open. He was over there sleeping somewhere. So you had to lay on the horn a little bit more. And some of us preachers, it's late when we come back in from a far-off meeting, 2 o'clock in the morning, so you don't want the neighbors mad at you because they will shoot you over there. Finally, here comes Taco or whatever his name was. I don't know. And he finally, did I say Taco? Anyway, he opened the gate and we came in and it was finished. But here Jesus says, and he commanded the porter to watch. Don't fall asleep. Then verse 35, he says, watch therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh, at evening or midnight, cock crowing, or the morning. You don't know when he's coming back. But you, his servant, given all authority, commanded to watch the door, you better be ready when he comes. Better be ready when he comes. He commanded the porter to watch. You're the guard of the door.